beautiful people. Lovely to have you all here. Today, we're going to be talking about the 7 steps to move from self funding to financial sustainability for your nonprofit organization. If you're a founder of a nonprofit organization, you've most likely been in a position where you had to spend your own resources to raise money for your organization. Basically, spend your own resources to execute programs to try to build the organization. And I can tell you, I know how frustrating and how isolating that could be. But there's a better way. You can move from self-funding to financial sustainability without spending thousands of dollars on consultants and professionals. You can do it yourself. Trust me, I've been there and I've been able to do it myself, and I know you too can. You only need the knowledge, you need to understand the process, and of course, you need the tools to help you throughout the entire process. So right onto it, let's jump into the 7 clear steps, the 7 steps you must take to move from self-funding to financial sustainability. The very first is getting the commitment of your board members. I'll tell you this, everything rises and falls on leadership when it comes to the nonprofit world. You're not going to do this alone. The fastest way to go into frustration is trying to do this alone. So you're going to need your board to go through this process with you, and that's where you need to get their commitment. We have a process to help you get commitment for board members, and we call that the board audit process. The board audit process helps each board member reevaluate themselves, evaluate their commitment, because the truth is there are some board members who are on your board right now who want to step down, and there are some board members who are on your board right now looking at you for the next step for, the next course of action. So you want to audit them so that you can be able to help those who want to step down to do so, gracefully. And you want to audit them so that those who want to step up can be able to step up and say, I want to recommit to the mission. This is very important. You're not going to build an organization. You're not going to build a structure all by yourself. You're going to need your board members. Once you're able to get the commitment of your board members, the next step is to fill your board with the right people. So most boards we've seen do not have the right kind of board members. They don't have the right combination, especially the fundraising side of things. So you have a board that's filled with skilled people, that you have people who are blessed, but they're not good in fundraising. So you may have to go out there to go bring a fundraiser into your board. This is very important because when it comes to fundraising, planning, and execution, you're going to need the experience. You don't want to go in alone or go in without that support and that experience. So, of course, there are 7 clear steps that you have to take to bring in new board members. We may not go into that on this video, but we have that on the Board Ultimate Fix to guide you through the 7 clear steps to take to, bring in the right kind of board members into your organization. Once you bring in these new board members, the next course of action is what we call strategic planning. Now, the mistake most founders make is they create a plan and try to force it on their board. But here, because you now have the commitment of your board members and you want everyone to have a sense of ownership as much as yourself, which is very important to help them to work with you to begin to execute, you have to plan with them. And that's what strategic planning is all about. Planning with these board members so that they can feel an ownership of the organization as much as yourself, so that they can know that their voice matters, so that they can be able to commit to the execution. In the nonprofit world and in community development, we say people who plan together execute together. So you see, strategic planning is very important to get everybody on board and get everybody aligned. After strategic planning, there's what we call delegation. You're not going to do this alone, so you have to delegate responsibilities. You have to delegate marketing. You have to delegate partnership. You have to delegate fundraising. You have to delegate these different. That's why you need a combination of the right skill set on your board, so that you have somebody who is experienced in marketing to be able to help you build out marketing for your organization, so that you have somebody who is experienced in fundraising to help you build out fundraising for the organization. And what does building out means? Building out means building the plan that's going to be executed in these different aspects of the organization. Your board is supposed to help you build out the roadmap for your organization, and that's what delegation is all about. Delegating these different areas to them to go build out a plan that encompasses how you're going to execute that part of the organization, the people you need to execute, the materials that's needed, the budget. That's really the sort of delegation we're talking about here. So for fundraising, you want to be able to delegate fundraising to a professional within your board to say, help us build out a plan based on our overall vision, based on what we need to make the organization grow. We call this the resource development planning, right? And so that board member goes out, build out a solid plan that shows how the kind of people you need to raise money, how to find them, the materials you need, the team you need to build, the budget, all that has to be spelled out. Now, this takes us now to the next step, which is executing the fundraising plan. But before you go into executing the fundraising plan, because you're building from the ground up, there are two important areas you need to take note of. And that's what we call the 100% board giving and relationship mapping. 100% board giving is your board members committing to the organization, investing in the future of the organization, taking the step forward as the board members. You would not expect me to give to the organization if your board members have not shown that they believe in the mission. And that's what 100% board giving is all about. And the goal for 100% board giving is to fund the fundraising plan. Let's say, for example, when you develop the fundraising plan, you see that you're going to need is $10,000 to raise $100,000 or $1 million. Where's that money going to come from? It has to come from you and the board. And of course, you, the founder, you have to take the first step to say, I'm giving $1,000, I'm giving $2,000. Let's band around to make this money possible so that we can raise the money we need to create impact. The second part of it is the relationship mapping. Each of your board members know people. They know their accountants. They know the business they shop from. They have friends who own businesses. They have to be able to map out this relationship for the benefit of your organization. Of course, most board members will say, well, I don't know anyone. Who do I know? But with a relationship mapping form, they can be able to think creatively because the form is going to help them think creatively. And they're going to recommend people from their network that they can begin to raise money from. And when they recommend people from their network, because they are not professional fundraisers, you have to provide them scripts and whatever resources they need to be able to reach out to these people within their network to raise money. And this is one of the tools we provide. We provide you those scripts so that they can help you raise money. Now, these two ways are going to help you raise that initial capital that you're going to need to go out there to go raise more money. And how do you raise more money? Of course, you're going to run a market study. This takes us to the next step. A market study using iWave donor scope. You're going to find thousands and millions of people across your service area, across the entire United States, who have proven to give to organizations like yours before. People who have the capacity, the propensity, and the affinity to give to causes like yours. So that's how you get to expand your fundraising, and that's how you get to find more donors. And we're not just talking donors here. We're talking of grantors, sponsors, businesses who are most likely going to give to your cause. But you're going to have to spend some money to do that research. And that's where market study comes in. And that's what takes us to the next step. With market study, of course, you're going to need to build a fundraising team. You're going to need to create the materials to, raise those money. And that's the next step. You're going to have to go out there, go recruit these people, develop the materials, case for support proposals, pitch decks, fundraising appeal letters, whatever that has to go into your fundraising, you have to develop those materials. And once you develop those materials, the next step is to begin raising money. And you have to, that means that's the seventh step, right? Launching your fundraising campaign. This can run for the next 6 months, for the next 12 months, and it could even be a system that consistently runs for you. But you have to go all in for the next 6 months, raising money from these people you've identified. And we have what we call the relationship building fundraising process. It's a process where you get to initiate relationship, nurture those relationships before making the ask. This will improve your fundraising outreach to, as much as 50 to 70% results, unlike where you're actually reaching out with your hands out. So you have to be able to follow the relationship building process if you want to raise money consistently for your organization. This basically, in the marketing world, we call it building the know, like, and trust factor. You want to be able to build your know, like, and trust factor by initiating relationship, nurturing this relationship before making the ask. With this process running for you for the next 6 months, you're going to raise enough money to bring in a professional fundraiser to build a professional fundraising team that can consistently raise money for your organization. So this is how you move from self-funding to financial sustainability. It starts from your board. Your board has to be able to work with you to build out the different aspects of the organization, including fundraising. They have to be able to, first of all, invest to say we are committed to this mission, because lots of funders and sponsors are going to look out for that. They're going to have to expose you to their network and also help you raise money from their network. You only have to provide them the scripts and, of course, whatever resources they need to make that possible. And of course, you then have to work with them to recruit your fundraising team, develop the materials, and you begin to work with your fundraising team to execute. Your board members are not the people who are going to help you run your everyday execution. Your fundraising team is going to do that. That's why you need them to recruit those team. And of course, there are ways your board members can support your fundraising. This could include, like I said, raising money from their network, stewarding your donors, providing supervisory capacity for your team. And then some of them could choose to say, I want to be a part of the everyday execution, which is very fine. But this is what you have to do to move from self-funding to financial sustainability. It starts with your board. It starts with your leadership. I hope this have been able to help you today. I'm available to help you further. If you want to learn more about this, reach out to me. Let's book a free call or join our masterclass coming up this Saturday. We're going to talk more about this and we're going to show you how to make this happen for your organization so you don't have to struggle. Self-funding is the worst place you want to be because it's going to drain your resources. Your emergency fund, your money you saved up for your family is going to deplete by depending on self-funding. But when you build a sustainable process for your organization, you can consistently raise money and build your organization alongside. I'll see you next week, same time, where we talk more on how to build your board, build your organization, and raise money. For now, it's bye.